Hey, it's time for Mindful Monday, and today I've got a great quote for you from Rene Descartes. And it says, "Except our own thoughts, there is nothing absolutely in our power." So, except for our own thoughts, there is nothing absolutely in our power. Now, when I first read this, I wasn't quite sure how to interpret this because on the one hand, it sounds like you're stripping any power away from me and what I can do in taking back control of my life. And that goes against everything that I stand for with my company, the Flow Authority. However, I don't believe that is what this individual is saying. What I believe they are saying is that there are things that are outside of your control, and you need to acknowledge that. You need to acknowledge that and be understanding of that and okay with that. Because look, not everything goes as planned. I think we'll all agree. In fact, majority of the time, things don't go exactly as they are planned. And most of the time, not always, most of the time, that's due to reasons that are outside of our control. Now, there's things we can plan for. There's things that we can plan. Hey, if this goes wrong, we got this. If that goes wrong, we got that. Plan B, plan C, right? That's, contingency plans. Those are great to have, but the reason we have those is because we know that things don't always and rarely do go as planned. And so when you realize that you have full power, full control over your thoughts, but things outside of you are not within your control, then when those things happen, when life gets in the way of whatever it is you had planned to accomplish, planned to do, then you can use that control of your mind, control of your thoughts, to get through those situations in a positive manner. And so there's a question on the back of this card, as there always is. And the question kind of confirms that understanding that I have of this quote. So it says, "What external factors am I trying to control instead of controlling my mind, controlling my words, and controlling my actions?" And so focus on the things that you can control. In the real estate group I'm a part of, in the self-development group I'm a part of, we call this standards, right? There are standards and there are expectations. Expectations are things that, at least how we define them in our group, is it's things that you impose on other people or places or things, right? You impose on this situation. I expect this will go as planned. And then that fails and you are upset and you are offended or you are frustrated, whatever the case may be. So instead, we set standards. And standards are things where you actually agree with those standards. You're in agreement with those standards. And so standards have to do with what you can control. You can control your mind, you can control your words, you can control your actions. And so you want to set up your plans to be agile. You want to set up your plans to be adaptable to change because likely things won't go as planned. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to make some tweaks, maybe on the fly. Maybe you can pause, take a step back. It depends what you're doing. But in this sense, when those roadblocks happen, either have a plan B in place or learn how to control your thoughts, control your words, control your actions to adapt in those situations. And so that you can still manage to have a positive outcome despite those roadblocks. So that's really it for this Mindful Monday. And I encourage you to put some comments in the chat below or reach out to me directly. Look, if you ever disagree with something I say, or you agree with something I say, I want to know. In either case, I want to know. So if you listen to this, if you get value in this, chime in below, and let's hash out any potential disagreements or differences, because this is all so we can learn and grow together, and we can improve ourselves as we go through life. This is for your benefit, and it's also selfishly for my benefit. I read these cards every week because I want to learn from the wisdom of people who lived before us and share my interpretation of these quotes with you guys from my experience. But my experiences might be different than your experiences. And so you might have your own interpretation or your own angle on a particular quote. You might agree, you might disagree. So please share that if you're willing to. I would really appreciate it. And let's, just have a conversation and continue to grow together. So that's it. Hope you're having an awesome Monday, and you guys have a great rest of your week.